Hey there, it's Jazz. What I'm about to show you is quite insane, and if you're an Amazon beginner, hopefully what I bring to you today can be an eye-opener for you and can motivate you to continue this whole journey. Now, I can't wrap my mind around this, but there is 100 million Prime members on Amazon who spent over $126 billion per year. We all know Amazon makes money, but that's not the crazy part. What actually blows my mind is that there's only around 5 million Amazon sellers. Meaning there's 5 million sellers versus 100 million customers. And what blows my mind is that those customers are spending $126 billion every single year. Now, why is it that Amazon beginners quit early when there's so much money to be made with Amazon? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down some hurdles some Amazon beginners actually have to go through, and I will be going step by step on how you can actually solve this. So if you're an Amazon beginner and if you end up facing any of these circumstances, I can hopefully bring you some value today, and you can overcome that and actually make a good profit with Amazon. Now, if you're an Amazon beginner, I get it. I was once an Amazon beginner with zero savings. I had credit card debt. I was working a minimum wage job. So I understand how overwhelming and exhausting and scary it is to spend a small amount of money that you have now, and it took you a long time to save it, and then it all going to waste, or you're not knowing if your money's gonna come back to you once you become an Amazon seller. I completely understand where you're coming from, so hopefully in this video, I can kind of put a good lighting on some things that I've learned as an Amazon seller, and that way you can kind of avoid those mistakes, or I can kind of lead you in the right direction for you to not quit. Because listen, there is so much opportunity when it comes to Amazon, and there's a long tail. So if I'm making profit, you're not going to hurt my profit. I want you to also go into this game and understand that you can also make money too. There is no limit. You can go ahead and make as much money as you want. So with that being said, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, but most importantly, leave a comment down below. I will love it if you ask me any questions. I will try my best to answer them, make a video based around your question. On top of that, it motivates me to make more videos like this. With that being said, let's get to the video. Now, the most obvious thing that makes Amazon beginners quit is that you are basically restricted on selling everything in the beginning. And if you're a beginner, you most likely had to face this hurdle. Now, why exactly does Amazon restrict you on selling products in the beginning? It's mainly because you're a beginner and you probably don't know much about the whole market. So let's say that you're selling cups or mugs, and we as a professional Amazon seller will make a good solid $10 of profit selling a mug. But as a beginner, you might bring the listing price so low that we end up not making any profit, and it makes us not want to sell on Amazon anymore. On top of that, Amazon is very customer centric. So of course, you're going to protect your customers from a beginner like yourself that has no experience. Now, this all rooted from people selling fake brands, like for example, Jordans or Nikes. So of course, Amazon is going to restrict beginners, and you have to earn that trust, and you have to create that relationship by actually selling products on Amazon. And the irony there is, how can you sell products if you're restricted on everything? That is mainly the biggest hurdle that most beginners face, and that's where they quit. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can actually start selling on Amazon and get over that whole hurdle, because I was in that position before, and I'm telling you, I understand how frustrating and overwhelming it is. You basically want to start selling products and make good profit. Now, there is a word that you might hear around, which is getting ungated. That just means you're getting unrestricted and you can sell a product. So whenever you hear someone say, I'm ungated, that means they can sell a product or brand. First one is getting auto ungated, meaning that you are basically going to start selling products. Let's say you go to the dollar store and start selling soap. Then naturally, you can go ahead and scan, let's say, this mug. With that, it's going to give you an option to request approval if you are restricted. Now, the cool thing is that once you start selling products with Amazon and you want to get ungated, they will naturally ungate you on many brands and categories, and eventually you're going to be able to sell any product you want. The problem with that is that it comes with time and, of course, a lot of effort looking for products that you can actually sell. The second way is you can actually use a third party. I use Funnel Guru when it comes to getting ungated with Nike, but it was really expensive. It was around $2,000. And if I can go back in time, I would of course educate myself and tell myself that there's a third way, which is using a distributor. And this is super simple. What you need is of course an LLC. I personally use an LLC to protect myself because it protects my personal assets versus what I'm selling on Amazon. So if someone sues me when it comes to Amazon, they're not gonna be able to attack my personal assets. Now, after you get your LLC, you want to be able to get a TPT, which is just basically like a sales certificate. That cost me around $12, and it's super simple. All you gotta do is go to whatever state you're from. For example, I'm from Arizona, so I had to go to the Arizona Revenue, and it was only $12 for them to give me that certificate. But they did ask me for my business TIN, and that is why you need an LLC. But it was only $12, and from there, that was a ticket for me to be able to create this account with different distributors, because distributors aren't open for regular people. They're only open for businesses. So that's why it's very important for you to do that. So once you find a distributor, then you're actually able to get yourself ungated. And all you have to do is find a category that you want to start selling. Like, for example, if you want to start selling in groceries, you can find a distributor and find 10 units of one product. For example, let's say that I want to start selling gummy worms. I'm going to go ahead and find a distributor that sells gummy worms, buy 10 of one specific brand. Then, of course, send that invoice to Amazon. And the way you send that invoice is when you scan like the gummy worms on the Amazon seller, and then right there you can upload it. And then you're gonna have a little square telling you you're restricted. Then you click request approval, and from there you actually can plug in your invoice, the scan, or a picture, and then from there you're ungated. Now, if you want to learn how to get ungated, please stay tuned, because I will be showing you how to get ungated in different types of categories in the next video, so please look out for that as well. That's basically it. You can get ungated by using third parties naturally, or even using distributors. The second thing that makes Amazon sellers quit is that they buy products and they don't sell, especially if you're sending those products directly to the warehouse. Most of the time, you're gonna realize that in the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. So of course, you're in this learning curve, and then you don't have someone to go to answer your questions. You're most likely gonna make a lot of mistakes. And the one mistake that I made in the beginning is just looking at the sales rank and not looking at Keepa at all. So the thing is that even if a sales rank is low, like for example, if this mug is 10,000 out of millions of products, that doesn't mean that my mug is actually going to sell. What you actually need to do is look at Keepa, and Keepa is just a chart showing you when a drop goes down. That just means that every time it drops, that means someone bought it. So that's why the sales rank changes when it comes to a product. And the thing is that how I started using Keepa was, one time I was at Marshall's and I was scanning beauty products, and I was just using the sales rank when it first started. And there's this Amazon seller guy, and I think his name is Brian. I can't remember precisely. He actually recognized that I was an Amazon seller because I was scanning products and I didn't look like I was working at Marshall. So he came up to me and he asked me if I was an Amazon seller, and we started having the conversation, and he was $1 million seller. So he told me, "Are you using Keepa?" And then I was like, "What's Keepa?" So from there, he was actually able to tell me, like, you need to use Keepa. If not, like, that's the main thing you need to use. And that right there changed my whole perspective and my whole business model, because I didn't know that you can actually know when a product is selling by using just Keepa itself. That's the problem that I had, was I didn't really know why a product would sell or wouldn't sell. I didn't really have those stats. Keepa actually shows you the history of that specific product, and it's basically like, that's a golden ticket, right? You know whether that product is going to sell or not based on its history. And it reminds me a lot of the stock market. So for you to be able to solve that problem, all you gotta do is look at Keepa when you are looking at products before you buy it. That way you know whether that product is selling or not when it goes to the warehouse as a third party. You can either check FBM or FBA depending on which one you are. Keepa shows you all of that information too. So I would recommend, if you're an Amazon beginner, to start looking into Keepa. The third thing that makes a lot of Amazon sellers quit is that they don't have enough capital. And what I mean with that is that when you are an Amazon seller, you need money to make money. It's like every other business. You can't just start off with $0 unless like you are just selling a service or something around that area. But most of the time you need some sort of capital to start off a business venture. So with Amazon, you need money to be able to buy products. And most of the time when with Amazon, they give you the money every 2 weeks, and sometimes the products don't sell as fast as you thought. So money can get really tight, especially if you don't have that capital in the beginning. So what I would recommend if you have zero to no money right now is just to put a pause to becoming an Amazon seller. And you can do that by actually giving them a call and just say, hey, I don't want to close my account, but I'm not selling anything. Can you please go from professional to individual so it can be just 99 cents per product that you sell? But this pause is the $30 that you're paying, $39.99 that you're paying each month. And I would actually go and work a minimum wage job for a solid 6 months, save up all that money, and then from there you can actually start using that capital to be able to start selling on Amazon. Because the one thing that I realized is you don't need a lot of money to begin with. You can start selling used books, but the thing is, if you want to grow fast, not like make millions of dollars in the beginning, but start seeing some profit, you're gonna need money to buy boxes, tape, printer, be able to use a computer, being able to use gas and go to stores or do it online. On top of that, you're gonna be able to use that money to buy products, because the one thing that does happen is many people get themselves into credit card debt because they don't have enough capital, right? They're trying to roll in that money back and forth, but it's not as easy as you think it is. And the thing is that this is a business, so you got to treat it like a business. You're not going to see profit for the good solid 6 to 2 years, depending on how fast you're doing it, how much capital you have, which is something that most people don't really understand, that Amazon is a business. You can't play around with it like if it's a game. You have to actually take it serious, because Amazon can actually terminate your profile or your account, your store, if you don't follow their rules or regulations. Amazon isn't complicated. All you have to do is basically find products that sell, and you just let Amazon do the rest. That's why it's we pay those Amazon FBA fees. But the thing is that capital is a huge factor when it comes to being able to duplicate your money, because you want to make those $5 into $20, $20 to $100, $100 to $1,000, and you just want to keep going and rolling. Which leads me to another point, which is many people don't know how to do the bookkeeping, because since they haven't had any experience with an actual business, it can get very complicated, especially with tax season, and it can be very stressful. Now, if you're interested in what I use for accounting, I do use Bench. I do have a link down below that can actually provide you 3 months with 30% off, I believe, and the first month for free. So if you end up not wanting it, at least you can try it out for a whole month and see how it actually works, because they are an Amazon professional. They actually know how Amazon works and the whole accounting jazz, and it makes my life super simple, because all I have to do is really upload the receipts, and they manage my expenses, my cost of goods. They show it and lay it out for me, how much I'm profiting, how much I'm spending on boxes, on products, on inventory, and all that good jazz. But in the beginning, you can kind of get overwhelmed, and many people don't know how much profit they're making at the end of the day, because they start using Excel or they don't have the right tools. So the one thing that I can give you is use a third party, and then from there you can kind of understand how it works, and they can educate you. And if you don't want to use them anymore, you can go ahead, you have a foundation on how to do the whole bookkeeping. But the thing is that all you really need is to know your gross sales, right? How much are you making per month with Amazon? Then from there, you subtract your expenses, right? Amazon, any software that you're paying, the expenses from your inventory. And then from there, you're going to want to know the cost of goods sold. And that's the last thing, which is you just want to know what inventory is sold and what didn't, what's still in the warehouse. From there, you're going to kind of have a good perspective of what you profited in that month, because Amazon, they don't really like break it down for you. They do send you reports, but when you're a beginner, you don't really understand like what is actually selling, what is going in, because you're through that whole learning process. So like I said, I would recommend for you to use a month free with Bench, get a whole perspective on how they break it down, so then you can do it on your own, and from there you can kind of understand what an accountant is looking for at the end of your tax season. And the last thing that many Amazon sellers actually struggle with, and it's not just Amazon sellers, it's the whole human race, which is comparing ourselves, our results to each other. But with Amazon, you got to remember that it's you versus you. There are some people that can't sell the products you can sell, and you probably can't sell their products. And you got to get restricted, right? Unrestricted on selling those products, because every account is rare. It's like your fingertip. Every sell is different. It's just basically understanding how the buy box works and all that good jazz. So comparing your results with someone else, it's kind of ludicrous, because we all have different products, we have different restrictions, we have different history with Amazon, and the buy box isn't going to pick one versus the other. It's just very like random based on their algorithm. So comparing your results to someone else can actually lead you to feel like you're not a good Amazon seller, or you could do more. And it's a good thing if you look at it in that perspective, how it can motivate you to do better. But at the same time, you shouldn't be comparing what I make or what I'm selling versus what you make or what you're selling, because at the end of the day, it's you versus you, and every person has their own journey in life and being an Amazon seller. So just know that you just gotta learn from others, be able to help others, because everything is aligned, right? If I'm constantly giving you all this knowledge, of course I'm gonna receive that energy back, maybe not from you, but from the universe itself, right? I'm probably gonna find some products at the store, or I'm gonna be able to grow because I'm constantly giving without putting a limit to it, without thinking, oh, they're gonna outwork me or they're gonna beat me in my own game. No, it's all about being able to understand that it's okay to share your knowledge, it's okay to help others, but it's not okay to compare your results versus others. You gotta be grateful for what you have today, and understand that this is just a journey that you're going through, and what's gonna kill you and your process if you're constantly trying to outwork or outbeat other people. But instead, you gotta outwork and outbeat who you were yesterday. No joke, like yesterday you gotta be able to do more today by 1%, which is not a lot if you think about it, but in a whole year, it's a lot. So that's one thing that I struggled a lot in the beginning, is that since I didn't have anyone to mentor me or tell me if I'm doing this right or wrong, I did compare myself a lot to other people, and I didn't understand why it took me longer than most, or whenever I would outwork others, it would make my ego like boost. But then I realized that's a toxic cycle. And if I can bring you one thing today, it's just this one thing: don't compare your results to anyone, and just try your best. Even if you fail, that's okay. Like, I failed so much, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those failures, right? So with that being said, don't forget to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, I do end up posting every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And with that being said, always remember to be someone that makes you happy.